Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today is January 31st. It is the end of January of 2025, and we're here with robots and nonsense to end your week and your month.
And with robots, it's AI, so we can talk a little bit more about Operation Stargate.
Which we've already kind of beat into the ground, but let's just take a look at the Wall Street Journal.
OpenAI's Stargate deal heralds a shift away from Microsoft. Microsoft really was on a trajectory for regulatory capture.
Potential spam. Then why do you make the phone ring?
It's true. They could just make it vibrate.
Never going to answer a potential spam.
Just in case you wanted to know.
And OpenAI, they have their new revolutionary, they previewed this, but now it is available if you are a pro user, which also means beta tester.
Introducing Operator. Look at that.
It's going to go out onto the web and do things for you, like sign up to websites and buy things, and that sounds like a terrible idea.
One interesting thing about this is the future that we've always contemplated, which is suppose that you have a New York Times subscription, and then you task your AI agent with going to read the New York Times. It's going to read the New York Times for you, but because this is a cloud service, that agent could also remember it forever.
It's a nice, convenient way to get around all those paywalls for your training data. Isn't it?
Solves a lot of problems, doesn't it? And no article is talking about that aspect of it. So imagine all of those. Like you build a distributed crawler network. What are you going to do? Block Bob from scanning the New York Times? You can't tell that it's coming from OpenAI's, crawler network anymore. It's amazing.
How long until we get this operator ordered things that I didn't want?
I think literally 6 months. Probably less, because that's probably a major selling point if you want to make retailers play ball.
You think it'll take that long? I mean, it's live now.
I used to have a bot that would watch eBay for things that met keywords, and if it cost less than $5, it had a weekly budget of like $20. And so I just had random packages from eBay showing up, and it was amazing.
That's unhinged.
It was so much fun because it was like, oh, I got a piece of vintage tech. Oh, I got garbage. Oh, I got another fun piece of it. This is going to be like that. It's going to be amazing.
That's just feeding into your loot goblin tendencies. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Now, recently we had a story about Google and their quantum computer and this amazing breakthrough that it made on a benchmark. But hidden in the details of that was the fact that Google created the benchmark. And apparently that is not a rare thing in the big tech world.
AI benchmarking organization criticized for wanting to disclose funding from OpenAI, or for waiting to disclose funding from OpenAI. So this was, again, another kind of benchmark. It's like, wait a minute, we should probably report that, right?
Mathematics, the mathematic benchmark, frontier math. OpenAI did very well.
This article also has the rare shout out to, or like connection to Less Wrong, which is like the Less Wrong people are deeply unhappy about the whole, oh, we need to regulate AI. But at the same time, it's like we're about to enter, like I'm more hopeful than I have been about the future of humanity for empowering individuals that have the desire and capacity to make things better, to actually make things better.
Do you know why this was such good reporting?
TechCrunch? Oh, Kyle Wiggers. Oh, nice.
There he is.
The myth.
Good job. Excellent work.
And we have many, many predictions about how soon AI will take over our lives and enslave us. And the Anthropic head has his own timeline.
Anthropic chief says AI could surpass almost all humans at almost everything shortly after 2027. That's only a year or two. Like I was predicting something that looks like general AI, in like another year or two, based on when I originally said it. That's a little after my prediction.
Now, he said it could take till 2030, but think about that and think about how quickly 2024 just disappeared.
Yeah.
Get ready for your robot.
It's never too late to learn some trade skills. You want to learn how to do plumbing or like how to be an electrician. Being a good electrician is really just about patience.
You don't just need to be a good electrician. You need to be a better electrician than the robot.
You've got at least 5 years before they get robots that have the fine enough motor control to like do the wiring neat like it's supposed to be.
And the big tech companies are also still throwing money, and it seems like everybody's going after OpenAI, but Google, they're hedging their bets.
Google invests another $1 billion in AI developer Anthropic. And Anthropic is doing some really pretty amazing stuff. But out of left field was the DeepSeek people, which is nuts. And now there's a fully open DeepSeek-like model that has a more open training data set. And so this is exactly the kind of cross-pollination and competition we need to be seeing, not just what is Anthropic doing and what is OpenAI doing. We need this whole potpourri of AI stuff.
Now, around 2020, it became the year of AI is not going to take your job. And now 2025 is going to be the year of...
Salesforce chief predicts today's CEOs will be the last with all human workforces.
Seems inevitable, and they are not alone feeling that way.
Managing AI agents as employees is the challenge of 2025, says Goldman Sachs CIO. They're talking about, the AI. It's like we need to manage the AI like people in that these people don't have access to this data, and these AI agents don't have access to this data, so they can't do anything untoward with it. Which is an interesting, what he meant was mutated a little bit from what you think of with that headline, but he's not wrong.
And the war for the training data still rages on, but we're finding out all the war crimes that were committed in the early phases of that conflict.
Microsoft's LinkedIn sued for disclosing customer information to train AI models.
So this is actually, if you paid for LinkedIn and you were letting the AI do stuff, it was quietly just scraping everything that you have.
That's weird. That's definitely not a model of how it's going to be with Windows. Does it remind me again who owns LinkedIn? Was that Microsoft? That's Microsoft, isn't it?
It also accidentally leaked some of that in other people's chats.
Yeah.
Which is maybe the worst case scenario.
Is that a different team that's working on the same thing for Windows? Because aren't they working on exactly the same thing with Copilot for Windows? Remind me again what structurally is different here.
And China may be on the back foot. Of course, they got their sanctions they got to battle against, and they see all this revolutionary stuff coming out of America. Maybe this is just a disrupting tactic.
Cutting-edge Chinese reasoning model rivals OpenAI O1, and it's free to download. Yeah, that's DeepSeek. DeepSeek's running here locally, and oh boy, it is a lot of fun. But not just DeepSeek. There's another model that works like DeepSeek that has an open data set, open training model data set, more open than DeepSeek. But DeepSeek's architecture and academic papers on how it's built and that sort of stuff is surprisingly open. It is more open than a lot of the other models that are available for free. It's way more open than Ollama, which is interesting.
And the training data battle rages on in terms of people whose training data was already stolen, and they're trying to claw back some sort of money from that.
Authors seek Meta's Torrent client logs and seeding data in the AI policy probe. Remember that pirated set of books that we reported on where Meta didn't even bother to buy the books that they used for training? They just downloaded the pirate copies. And so there may be some evidence of that out there still in Torrent client logs. Meta's going to be on a real difficult to defend position if there's enough proof of that, which I think that more than we use copyrighted material to train AI, it's like we stole a bunch of books to train AI. That's way more actionable.
Yeah, I think they got an ace in the hole.
Yeah.
And are you still fighting it? It's time to get on with the AI revolution. You can't be standing on the sidelines here. That you're going to be swept away if you do.
More teens say they're using ChatGPT for schoolwork, a new study finds.
It was up, 20%? Oh, no. 26%, 13 to 17, and that was up from 13% last year. And that's students who are willing to admit to cheating, which is a low percentage. The real number is probably way higher. Our undersea cables are under attack. We don't know who's doing it, and all of a sudden now we're not looking into that anymore. I don't know. But we have a new way that we're going to monitor them.
NATO boosting naval presence and AI monitoring the Baltic Sea after undersea cables cut. And the UK, I love it, the Astute class. Could there be any more of a British name for their submarines? It's the Astute class submarine Excelsior or something.
I can't remember what they named this program. It had a good name. But
They've already done some amazing, the submarines have popped up next to these merchant quote-unquote vessels.
What you doing there? You got a license for that boat.
yeah, exactly. So there's already some amazing and hilarious story. Yeah. UK Defense Secretary. Oh, you had it. No, that's fine.
Yeah, Nordic Warden was what I was looking for there. The Nordic Warden is going to be some manual monitoring, but also AI vessels and satellite observation and stuff like that. Always keeping an eye on the cables.
And the threat of submarines. It's not just submarines, but it's like a submarine could just pop up at any moment. That would be amazing.
Not so much if you're on the crew of that boat. That'd be terrifying.
Well, it's like we've been shadowed by the submarine for 3 days and we didn't know.
And we have to get used to living alongside our robot partners. And China is making us more comfortable with them.
China to host world's first human robot marathon as robotics drives national goals.
There's a great animation down here. It might be later on in one of these videos, but they're walking one of the robots around a walking track, and they're wearing the company's jacket, and they've got one on the robot too. So he doesn't have to be cold.
Nice.
And here is maybe the first robot that will enter many homes before the cooking bot and the butler bot.
China's next generation
That is gonna
love
get us-
bots.
Yeah, there you go. Powered by AI are about to hit the shelves. And oh boy, if you're just listening to this, you're missing out because there's a picture.
Now they talk about the struggles with this. They are going to try to do like a large language model type of thing so that they can talk to you more realistically.
Remember this from Spielberg's artificial intelligence movie? Like the older model bots of this were like repurposed for like elder care and stuff like that. We're heading to that future. It was like, oh, that's a little dystopian. That's a little dark. It's like, oh.
And they point out it's not going to be like the humanoid robots because they have a weight limit of 88 pounds. Above 88 pounds, they're afraid their customers are going to get hurt by this thing. So they can't put the kind of stepper motors and stuff like that they need and hit that weight limit. So it's going to be fairly motionless, but it's going to talk to you. And here's a blast from the past. Remember when the world loved this man?
Astronomers just deleted an asteroid because it turned out to be Elon Musk's Tesla Roadster. Remember when he launched the Roadster to test the rocket, the lifting capacity of the rocket?
We're already littered in space.
If we can track those kind of asteroids, why aren't we tracking the unidentified stuff over Jersey?
And we've moved to the nonsense section, of course, because we have our let's waste government resources story of the week.
NBC News' headline is Mississippi lawmaker introduces Contraception Begins at an impossibly early stage act. And I don't know. It's again, the algorithm has screwed us. You're going to have to read it. I hope you can see it. The bill, which is unlikely to pass, would make it unlawful for any person to
You can say that.
unload genetic material
You chose a worse word.
without the intent to fertilize an embryo. It's just like, ugh.
What about nocturnal emissions?
Yeah.
That's $1,000 fine. Was it 1,000 or 5,000?
I've seen legislation like this before. It's stunt legislation
I think
Well,
to kind of highlight the absurdity of the other side.
Right. Yeah, because the Roe versus Wade thing, I think it's sort of a. But how much time and resources did you waste for your little stunt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you be billed for that? Maybe that would put a stop to this. It's like if you don't earnestly believe this will pass, you will be billed for everybody's time that you wasted.
And this is not the first time we've seen this story. The Sydney beaches are not a great place to be, it would seem. No one knows exactly why, but there are balls of poop.
Mystery balls on Sydney beaches found to contain fecal bacteria and a lot of proteins and fat. And when your diet has a lot of stuff in it that you don't need, your body just ejects it, and that's what these are. And it's not great ecologically at all.
Oh, they're just like bits of fatberg.
And genetic material and just
Right.
But here's the question mark: volcanic rock.
Oh, it's volcano poop.
What's the volcano eating?
Human sacrifices.
Ultra processed foods. So
Microplastics.
remember they also have the blobs.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot
What
of,
is happening?
No one knows. Nothing good. And Iran, they have kind of a weird sort of dichotomy of they're modernizing and they're rich, but the leadership is insane.
Music events canceled in southern Iran after cleric blames concerts for the drought they're currently experiencing.
So he says these concerts are an affront to God, and God is now angry and is withholding rain until they stop. So they've stopped.
That seems disappointing.
The good news, if you did go to a concert, don't have to worry about being rained out.
How do they not turn it around? Like, I always like what Stephen Fry, was it Stephen Fry? No, it was Ben Franklin, I think, that first said it was the beer is proof that God loves us. So it's like, you turn that around with the music somehow.
I don't think either.
Music's a big thing in the Old Testament. I mean, they were dancing in the streets. You can have spontaneous movement parties.
Heresy.
The news story is that this is a news story in The Guardian.
Yeah. And finally, maybe we have a resolution to the big mystery.
Elon Musk admits cheating at video games chat transcript appears to show. And that was the headline in The Guardian, because apparently there was nothing else more important going on. It's like, we who play video games, it's like, yes, we knew. It was very disappointing. We've said that. It does not need to be written up like this.
There's plenty of other reasons to dislike Elon Musk this week.
He didn't come out and say, yes, I did that, and I shouldn't have anything like that. He just said all the top players do that.
He said all the top players need some help from time to time, which is quite a stretch.
He literally said all top Chinese players do that. So, of course I did it. I mean, he didn't say that part, but we
Infer,
imagine that he would say that. But that also sounds like, and I'm going to keep doing it, right?
It's just pathetic to me. Like, I don't understand that mindset.
Well, it's not just to you.
Uh-huh.
I think most people find that pathetic. Some people probably just really don't understand it, right? Like, what is that? What is Path of Exile?
Or Diablo.
We know that the British are allergic to knives. They have a weird relationship with a pretty basic human tool.
This is one person who complained. Beer logo and pump scrapped after knife complaint.
I also read that as scraped.
But this is a guy that, I mean...
He made knives. This was a knife company. The guy that started it, he was beloved in this town because I guess it's a big employer, Who doesn't love knives?
It promotes violence.
So they made this. I mean, the picture, it's hard to even tell there's a knife in that picture, right? And there's
and I mean, they do make knives. It's not like he's just holding it up for fun.
And they make a knife-themed bottle opener. And apparently that really set somebody off.
You can't even carry a potato peeler in London? What does the world come to?
This is what the world has come to. This is where the high water mark is.
Florida deputy resigns after crashing patrol vehicle while watching adult videos. Yeah, it was on the body cam. It probably wouldn't have happened if it wasn't on the body cam. It probably would have been like, there was a squirrel.
Oh, yeah. He said his brakes failed.
Oh, yeah.
And they just went with that for a while. But then they did the body cam review, and not only was it adult material, he also wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
Disappointing.
The bar has been lowered quite a bit for the hiring in those places. Ooh. And stolen valor, you hear a lot about that. Police impersonations, that's a big problem. But here's a new one.
2 arrested for impersonating firefighters using an illegitimate fire truck in the Palisades Fire. And they investigated these. It was a husband and wife, I think, from Oregon. And the husband has a criminal background. And
as you do.
Yeah, and they bought their fire truck at auction, which has now been impounded.
Do you think that was looting? Is that what that was, or they just want to be a part of it?
Just clout.
I think that this is eventually going to be like a Method Man movie where it's like, oh, I've got this brilliant idea. What are we going to do? We're going to go loot the houses because nobody's going to stop a fire truck, and then we'll use the fire truck to bring the stuff back.
Method Man might be a little old making those films. Some of the younger rap stars could do that for us. I don't know.
That's a special kind of insanity, too, knowing that there's active fires and being like, yeah, I'll go in there.
What would you do if somebody was like, oh, hey, over here, is that...
Bye.
And here's another headline that we see over and over. People, it's usually a T-shirt, but now we have a new piece of...
We had this story once before, and it's... I think yeah.
I don't think it's the same one.
No, but it's the same bag.
No, I think the other one was a shirt, right? We might have had more than 3 or 4 of these, actually.
First Alert 6 reports that the police have charged a woman that was carrying a bag that said, definitely not a bag full of drugs, for trafficking meth. Because it definitely did actually have some drugs.
And she was on bond 10 days. She got out of jail and said, yes, let me select a bag that says something about drugs.
Can we get her on one of the planes? Like,
She's
Oh,
probably
you wanted to
American
deport her?
citizen. Yeah.
that would be a great way, though. If it's
To just send an American citizen to some other country.
yeah. It's just like this is you failed so bad.
I'm not saying she's a good citizen, but she is a citizen.
Yeah, it's like, do you think you would be a better citizen than this person that we're about to incarcerate? Yes. Congratulations, you're now a citizen.
Oh, I see what you just didn't want to swap them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would give a little bit too much control to the bureaucrats. Might go wrong. But speaking of the bureaucrats, if you want to fight back against them, here's a brilliant way. Now, officially, we can't encourage this behavior, but I sure do respect it.
The Staten Island Beautification Squad has blocked dozens of speed cameras using fake flowers. Oh, the pictures are amazing.
When I found out our area was getting these, I did have a thought of like, how hard would they be to disable?
This is not destructive, right?
Yeah.
But they are. They did a press release and they said, millions of people are destroyed by speeding. It takes lives. We're helping you. We're not generating revenue at your expense.
Yeah.
Here's one I've 100% disagree with.
Colorado High Court rules 5 zoo elephants cannot pursue freedom because they are not human.
We used to be a country.
Yeah, they should totally be able to pursue freedom. That's totally okay.
Zoos are not cool. I mean, they're fun. I get it. I want to go look at the animals too, but the elephants are supposed to be really smart, right?
Yeah. Can we give them like something that, if we're not going to free them, can they at least have way, way, way more room to move around?
Bigger, but more like, if you've ever been to like some wildlife preserves where it's like acres and acres and like you can drive through it really slowly. And if you see something, you see something. But if you don't, then they just get to do their thing.
Every square feet of data center should also have to buy the matching square feet and elephant enclosures.
Oh.
What an amazing law. We could get it done. We could get it done, chat.
We can't. We can't bribe anybody with $1 million. So it's not
what an
gonna
incredible
happen.
constitutional amendment that would be, just out of nowhere.
I don't know where we would put that giant enclosure, but we could work it out.
That's a problem for future us.
And finally, Mittens the cat had a rough day, but now he's being more loved because of it.
Mittens the cat is mistakenly left on a plane and becomes a frequent flyer.
Mittens might be a she, actually. They forgot. By the time they figured out that Mittens was not coming through the carousel, it was already back in the air. And so it did 7,500 miles.
Oops. Did they at least get Mittens some food?
Yes, and turned on the heat, which they had turned off because there were no live animals scheduled for that flight. Yeah. But it made it. It's going strong.
That was a close one.
I can't tell. Is that its paw? Is that a giant paw?
I don't know.
Because you shouldn't name your cat Mittens unless it has different colored paws, but maybe this one does.
I think it does, because like her hair is short. It's not her hair. I guess it could be part of its tail. Though I think the tail's in her other hand. I think that's its paw.
It's tough to say. We need more pictures of Mittens.
More context about Mittens.
AP. Come on. We
You
should have
guys
a
used
full
to be
photo shoot.
real journalists. All right.
There could have been so many more details in that article, like so many.
What's Mittens' favorite treat?
We made it. We didn't quite get 25 minutes out of that one, but this was also one of the more uniform weeks in terms of total matching time every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are not deliberately trying to shorten the episodes. It's just that's how just the luck of the draw sometimes.
I'm literally trying to shorten the episodes because we decided we wanted to do that.
Well, not I mean from like an hour, but not like we're shooting for what, like 45 minutes?
I don't shoot for a time. I'm just more discriminating in terms of what I choose.
Right.
Yeah. I and we needed that for sure because there was a lot of stories that was just like this is the same story that we've had 8 times in the last 8 weeks.
Yeah, well, I feel like, too, a lot of the stories right now, it's all just, it's new AI, new dystopian hell. Like, there's kind of really, there's only like 2 or 3 really broad, overarching categories.
But new AI is going to change our lives.
I'm going to try to go to GTC, which is coming up in March, and I fully expect to be able to preview the future of GTC. It might as well be the World's Fair. I think that's San Jose. So it's just like, what AI future? Oh, by the way, NVIDIA is a robotics company now because that's the next frontier. And we'll probably see it at GTC.
Until then, we'll see you next time.
We'll GTC you next time.
Bye.